It's no secret what my current thoughts are on the rising costs associated with video gaming in today's landscape, but what may be a secret to new viewers is the origin story of this channel. And that was discussed in the cloud gaming services such as Nvidia's GeForce NOW, but more prominently, the now defunct Google Stadia. In a past life, this channel was originally known as Club Stadia, a channel as noted dedicated to talking about the Google Stadia platform, the best way to play on it, and of course, showing off the games being played on Stadia. And I held the platform in such a high enough regard that I even hosted a podcast with 5 other Stadia creators back when Stadia was still a thing. I bring this up right now as well as the leading sentence of this video because we're in a similar spot in gaming currently, much like Stadia's launch, that cloud gaming could really find its footing in the world. In November of 2019, Google Stadia found its way to the early adopters when they received their Founders Edition package, including a limited edition controller, the Google Chromecast Ultra, and of course, access to a then closed off platform. Destiny 2 was the biggest title at launch for Stadia, and rightfully so, as Google worked hand in hand with Bungie at the time to optimize the experience for the new platform. The timing worked out great as well, considering just a month or so prior to Stadia's launch, Destiny went free to play. Though if memory serves, you still needed a Stadia Pro subscription at the start to play Destiny 2 on the platform, as you were technically getting the Legacy Collection, which included DLC. Having a big game like Destiny was a huge coup for Google, because playing Destiny at high fidelity and a great frame rate isn't a guarantee on your computer, let alone on your phone or tablet, which Stadia was capable of doing. Just one of the many perks of cloud gaming. But the biggest opportunity for Google was just right around the corner, because much to the detriment of myself and, I don't know, every breathing human being on the planet, in March of 2020,
now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
The pandemic quite literally rocked the entire world into an unprecedented event. Many businesses moved to remote working situations, other businesses closed, while those remaining open to the public instituted safeguards like social distancing and face masks in public. The pandemic caused all sorts of problems, most notably for companies like Microsoft and Sony, who at this time were months away from releasing their next-gen consoles in the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 respectively. Parts needed to produce those consoles created one of the scarcest releases in gaming history for a next-generation release. Finding PlayStation and Xboxes in the wild was a tall task, and many would-be adopters had to either get lucky in an online lottery to earn the privilege of purchasing those devices, or beat bots to the punch when Best Buy or GameStop released a limited batch of consoles. A world stuck inside without the next generation of consoles being easily accessible, and one of gaming's most anticipated titles in Cyberpunk 2077 coming out just a few weeks later created quite the conundrum for gamers. This is where Google Stadia stepped in. When Stadia was formally announced, one of the games announced as coming to the platform was Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red's follow-up to their massive hit, The Witcher 3. Like Destiny, this was a good get for the platform, and oddly enough would garner probably Stadia's biggest windfall of goodwill in the general gaming community. Stadia during and after its existence received, well, to put it nicely, terrible feedback. Those that were invested in the platform, myself included, obviously were enthralled with Stadia and loved playing on it. As noted, this channel was literally dedicated to talking about the platform, but the general gaming community hadn't heard of Stadia, and those that had, they didn't have favorable things to say about it. But Cyberpunk offered Stadia a great chance at proving to the world what it was capable of. With the majority of gamers not being able to utilize a PS5 or a Series X to play Cyberpunk because, for one, they couldn't buy one, but they were met with a less than stellar performance on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which were readily available at the time. Those that were lucky to get a next-gen console were still forced to play the old generation versions of the game because next-gen versions of the games had not existed yet. The other two options to play Cyberpunk could be found on PC and, as noted, Google Stadia. To enjoy Cyberpunk in a playable state on PC, you had to have a pretty beefy system. Any CDPR fan knows that their games are typically poorly optimized at the start and require a little bit of love post-release to get to their legendary status. So that left many gamers with potentially only one other place to play Cyberpunk: Google Stadia. And at the time, players that purchased Cyberpunk on Stadia were treated to a free Stadia Premier Edition, which included a Stadia controller and the Chromecast Ultra, which was, I think, about a $100 value if memory serves me right, but you're getting it for free if you bought Cyberpunk. Surprisingly, a pretty good deal. But what was even more surprising is that Stadia universally was pretty much given glowing reviews for its performance with Cyberpunk 2077. It was in essence Google's first win with Stadia, and though Stadia had another 24 months or so life left in it, that which we didn't know of at the time, this would quite possibly be the first and last time Stadia would have anything positive surrounding it in the public eye. For instance, just take a look at the Google search trends for Stadia. Its most popular time on their own search engine surrounded the release of Stadia, which makes sense, and unsurprisingly, the closest it got to that was the Cyberpunk release. Stadia would never come close to those heights of popularity in the general populace ever again. It's a masterclass in having quite possibly the biggest gift handed to you, once in a lifetime even, and just squandering the way Google did. Google's marketing machine and size gave it no reason to let Stadia fail the way it did. Releasing just before the start of a pandemic, forcing everyone to stay home, unable to get next-gen consoles, and then being arguably the most affordable and easiest way to play one of the most anticipated games in the last 5 years in Cyberpunk, Stadia should have been here to stay. Now, we just said Google was given a once-in-a-lifetime moment to move past its competitors with a global pandemic and a parts shortage, paving the way for a free platform utilizing ever-evolving technology. Well, like The Rock versus John Cena, this will be twice in a lifetime. Google Stadia wasn't the first cloud gaming platform, and in fact, the one we're about to discuss technically existed before Stadia was even a thing. It was in beta form, but it was still there. When Stadia existed, arguably its biggest competitor was Nvidia's GeForce NOW, a service that to this day still exists. There are some criticism Stadia garnered, some fair, some definitely unfair. Among those were, you have to rebuy games. I mean, duh, it's a different platform. You didn't expect your PlayStation games to work on your Xbox, did you? Did you? Criticism being fair or not, this was not an issue for GeForce NOW. If you're unfamiliar with what GFN does, it provides a one-stop cloud gaming shop for all of your PC launchers. Enabled games on places like Steam, Ubisoft Connect, and Epic Games could be played through the cloud, and these are based off of the purchases on your accounts. Now, not every game in your libraries is capable of being used on GFN due to license agreements, among other things, but it gave critics a chance to play somewhere in the cloud with games they already own, taking away one of the biggest cons that Stadia apparently had in having to rebuy games. Like Stadia, GFN has a free tier, and technically all you need to do is buy a game, in this case for GFN, as long as it's playable on the cloud on your launcher of choice, and you're all set to play on GeForce NOW. Unlike Stadia, however, GFN did and does have concessions on its free tier. While on Stadia, if you bought, say, FIFA, your major concession with Stadia, if you didn't have Stadia Pro, the service's monthly subscription, you couldn't access 4K streaming or surround sound, and that was about it. You could still play the game for as long as you want, whenever you want, however you want. That was one of the good things about Stadia, is that you could pretty much do anything for free as long as you own the game. On GFN, you were met with a waiting room, and depending on the popularity of the game, you could be waiting for a little bit. Also, you are generally limited to 1-hour play sessions, and you'll also come across ads while you're waiting. Which, if you only have time for a couple hours of gaming a week, this actually may be perfectly fine for you. Chances are, however, if you're finding your way to GeForce NOW in the first place, I don't think an hour of session is going to cut it for you, and you'll be forced or at least convinced that you'll need to pay for a GeForce NOW subscription. There are 2 paid tiers. The first tier, Performance, gets you up to 6-hour gaming sessions, 1440p resolution at 60 frames per second, and a pretty small waiting time. Generally, unless the game is incredibly popular, you shouldn't have any issues jumping straight into a game. The top tier, Ultimate, gets you up to 5K resolution, 360 frames per second, and virtually no waiting room. I'm not affiliated in any way with GFN, Nvidia, or anything like that, but as of this video's recording, there is a summer sale for their 12-month plans, Performance being $35 off down to $65 for a year, and Ultimate being $70 off down to $130 for the entire year. just a little over $10 a month. These are pretty good deals if you're into cloud gaming. Now, I bring this all up because if you aren't into cloud gaming, this might be the time. This might finally be the time. If you're conscious of the world you're currently living in, and if you were watching this video, you certainly are, because we have been talking about it for the last couple weeks. Gaming is becoming more expensive almost on a weekly basis. Hell, even almost on a daily basis. And shortages in storage, RAM, and other parts, as well as a very tumultuous world economy due to a plethora of reasons that I'll be nice and not get into right now. Gaming is especially being affected. Everything in the technology space pretty much is. We are nearly at 6 years since the release of the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, and we are in the midst of price increases on both systems, and same goes for the brand new Nintendo Switch 2. All the consoles are currently still pretty easy to find in stores, for now, but with the likely lower sales numbers all these consoles will encounter after their increases become active, inventory may be the least of consumers' worries when it comes to these consoles. It could simply just be the fact that consumers are going to be priced out. Enter GeForce NOW. Internet infrastructure has only improved since the last time this channel dedicated its time and energy to the world of cloud gaming, and GFN itself has only gotten better. I'd argue that the cost benefit is certainly there currently, and with the membership sale or without, you'll have immediate access to a large portion of your Steam library, as well as any other launchers you have games on, and you may open up gaming on other platforms. I prefer using Mac products as much as possible nowadays, and though Mac gaming is becoming slowly a better place to play games, I mean Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate 3, Control, these are all games you can natively play on the Mac right now, it is still woefully underutilized by game developers. GFN makes that a non-issue, as you can use GFN to get around incompatible games on the Mac platform. It even recognizes ultra-wide monitors and gives you access to ray tracing, which is a pretty cost-prohibitive addition to add to your own PC. If you're a console gamer, at this point you've probably picked up your console of choice, but perhaps you wanted to get into the world of PC gaming now. Great timing, by the way. However, like consoles, PC parts are rising rapidly. GFN might be your perfect gateway into playing games on PC. Like anything, GeForce NOW isn't without its own issues. Like Stadia, you'll still need access to internet that can handle it well. Additionally, as noted, not every game you own will be there. Certainly, the most anticipated game of the decade, GTA 6, will not be there, as no Rockstar games currently are. You also need to add another subscription to your repertoire to really get the best out of what GFN has to offer. And at the very least, considering what we are currently embroiled with in terms of our current economics of gaming hardware, this may be an effective way to continue gaming into the future. If you use GeForce NOW or cloud gaming, what is your favorite thing about it? Let others know in the comment section down below. And if this is your first time on this channel, consider subscribing so you can get up-to-date notifications on when we go live with brand new content just like this. And if you could do me a favor, also hit the like button, as that's how more people will find this video just like you did. And in the meantime, I want to thank you for your support. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll catch you down the road.